The Lakers are allegedly targeting the player-turned-podcaster as their next head coach. Shohei Ohtani is cleared of the gambling probe, much to the chagrin of the tinfoil hat brigade. And the Rams expect Matthew Stafford in mandatory minicamp, even without a new contract. Good morning. I'm James. This is your daily dose of sports and snark for the greatest sports city in the world, Los Angeles. This is the faithful Angelenos morning report. And so it is June 5th, 2024, still in southern Illinois for work, where it is raining. Raining in the summer, just in case you didn't have enough evidence how goofy this place actually is. Well, let's get the day off right with a little LA sports. And if you like being in the know about LA, click the like button. Click the subscribe button. There's a notification bell. Hit that. It'll let you know when we drop new content. Sharing is caring. Let people know we exist. And by all means, comment. Now, before we go through the news and notes, a look at the scoreboard. Pittsburgh 1, Dodgers 0. Yuck. Here is a stat that will blow you away. For 5 consecutive starts, Tyler Glasnow, while he was on the mound, the Dodgers have provided not a single run. Not a run until at least he was pulled. Ugly stat for a good pitcher, I'll tell you. Meanwhile, today, the Dodgers are at Pittsburgh again. That game will start at 3:45. James Paxton is 5-0 with a 3.29 ERA, and Paul Skenes is 2-0 with a 2.45 ERA. Minnesota's at the Sparks at 7. Sparks coach Kurt Miller was blunt. He told the team at practice they need to do better. He said that on Tuesday. This is part of an LA Times article where the rookies on the team acknowledged that the pro game is much more physical than the college game, to which Caitlin Clark said, duh. And don't get me wrong, the Times wrote the article specifically because Caitlin Clark is being assaulted on the court every night out in Indiana. But that's not the story with the Sparks here. The story is the team is 2-6. We keep hearing about how cute and pretty they are. They're 2-6. They don't win. Let's get to the news. If this report is true, I think it's fair to ask if Jeannie Buss has lost her mind. But The Athletic is reporting that player-turned-podcaster JJ Redick is targeted to be the next head coach. Redick, who bounced around the league, including a stint with the Clippers, will broadcast the NBA Finals for ESPN. Therefore, an announcement highly unlikely to be made during the finals. The Athletic and the LA Times are claiming the coaching search is not a done deal. We've been talking about this for weeks, and to be honest, despite the spin I've been reading, there just simply isn't a lot of positive ways to look at this if this goes down. For example, of the spin, CBSSports.com is saying it's not unheard of to become a coach so quickly after you retire as a player. After all, Jason Kidd and Derek Fisher did it. How bad can it be? Well, we know how bad can it be. Derek Fisher was last seen getting the heave-ho by the Sparks. Now, as for Kidd, granted, the man did get Dallas to the finals this year. And I'm not saying that I know him well, because I don't. But I did interview him a couple of times when he was a player. His temperament is entirely different from that of JJ Redick. Kidd is a very, the words he chooses in interviews, he's very measured, kind of reserved. And because of that, he doesn't just go off and blast out players. I believe that his communication is left in the locker room to try to reach people that way, instead of hanging people out to dry in the press. The press also likes to mention that Pat Riley moved from the broadcast booth to the sidelines as well. Riley also had a different temperament than Redick. Riley would challenge you in the locker room. He was the son of a blue-collar Irish immigrant. And as for having stuff to say, when he was a broadcaster, He sat next to Chick Hearn. He tried to get a word in edgewise during the life of Chick Hearn. You couldn't do it. God rest his soul. But if you tried to front on Pat Riley, he would challenge you in private. Absolutely. He would not cower before anybody. That is entirely different than what JJ Redick is. JJ Redick made his name by giving edgy opinions on Twitter, on ESPN, on his podcast. How long do you give it before he accidentally lets something slip from the locker room? How long do you give that? And I hate talking bad about Jeannie Buss because I do believe people have disrespected her for being a female owner. She damn sure has done better than her brother ever could. But this is what inevitably happens when you micromanage coaches, when you pay them chump change. The quality of the candidates goes down. And now they apparently have a crush on a guy who hasn't coached basketball higher than a youth league and made his name after his playing career by giving hot takes. That does not sound like we should be ready to set up championship banner 18th in the rafter. That's not at all. ESPN, by the way, reported that LeBron James was, quote, mad, unquote, that Kyrie Irving isn't his teammate. The insinuation, when you read the headline, is that he kind of holds a grudge that the Lakers didn't trade for Irving. That's not what he said. It's not. He spent a lot of time on Redick's podcast. Gee, that doesn't send an awkward message, does it? He said a lot on Redick's podcast how happy he was that Irving got to the finals, how gifted the player is. Kind of makes him mad that they're not still teammates. It literally sounded like a dude who wishes he could have one more night with an ex, right? Funny thing is, anything that James says sets off a series of additional stories. ESPN then later reported that the Lakers did in fact try to land Kyrie Irving. But a trade package that centered around Russell Westbrook wasn't enough for the Mavs. You don't say. You're kidding. Russell Westbrook for Kyrie Irving. Who the hell would make that trade? Even James knows the Lakers were boxed in. As for potential Laker players in the future, they held auditions for 4 draft prospects on Monday. Armando Bacot of North Carolina, Ray J. Dennis of Baylor, David Jones of Memphis, Tyler Thomas of Hofstra. Thomas also worked out for the Clippers, but none of the 4 are projected to be first rounders in the upcoming NBA draft. Meanwhile, with the Dodgers, Shohei Ohtani's former interpreter pleaded guilty for swiping about $17 million from the player to feed his gambling habit. The official charges are bank and tax fraud. The interpreter's net loss from his addiction was about $41 million. The belief is the interpreter did not bet on baseball. The Feds and Major League Baseball both conducted an investigation and yesterday exonerated Ohtani. So, do you want to amuse yourself? Well, if you do, feel free to go on Twitter and see how many conspiracy theorists have superglued their hands to the door of the commissioner's office in protest. See how many people are now trying to find Mulder and Scully to unearth that little mystery. Let it go, Slime Diego. Once again, you lost. You should get used to that by now. And trust me, if you're saying the Feds are in on the fix, the Feds don't give a damn about the reputation of Major League Baseball. They don't even give a damn about the reputation of a former president. They're perfectly happy to see that guy go to the slam. And you think they care about Shohei Ohtani? No. Meanwhile, down in Mexico, Trevor Bauer was unhappy that he doesn't have his Major League career back while Ohtani gets to play Friday. Quote, "What about my case, where I was also never charged with anything, and where I'm also the victim of fraud? Why am I not allowed to go back and play?" he tweeted. And I've tried to play the Bauer case down the middle, since it broke, as best I can. I don't hate Trevor Bauer. I don't love the guy. He never faced a jury of his peers. They did think they had a case. And then, of course, we all know about the social media tweets of his accuser. So we all know about that and her texts. But I got to step in on this one. Trevor Bauer, you know damn well why you're not in the major leagues. Stop it. You played the villain for many, many years. You pissed off a lot of people before you were accused of assault. Nobody is looking out for you other than the people you've hired. Nobody. And you know all of this. You know it. You may be 100% completely innocent. But I'm here to tell you, an employer has to like you before they hire you. They have to think you're a decent dude sometimes. You haven't given people that impression. You don't get your career back just because you're innocent. You get a job because the employer thinks you're not going to cause a public relations poop storm. Rams coach Sean McVay reiterated he expects Matthew Stafford to attend next week's mandatory minicamp, although the Rams have not reworked Stafford's contract yet. NFL Network reported Stafford wants more guaranteed money in the deal. Also with the Rams, McVay said starting inside linebacker Ernest Jones is dealing with a knee problem and the goal is for him to return for training camp. That's a little unsettling. They are extremely thin at linebacker. Meanwhile, gun charges were dismissed for Rams cornerback Darian Kendrick. He was arrested last October. In order to get the charges waived, he completed 20 hours of community service and a gun safety program. He played a really big role for the Rams D last year. He was on the field for 76% of the defensive snaps. The Rams are also going to give him a look at the so-called star position, the position Jalen Ramsey used to play, a hybrid defensive back linebacker position. Second-year linebacker Byron Young gave a sterling review of first-round draft pick Jared Verse. Quote, "No lie, if you've been here so far, he's just handling it like a pro. His get-off is insane." By the way, ladies, my get-off use is pretty insane too. But seriously, folks. His get-off is insane, rushing the passer, listening, being accountable. He's a guy that's hungry. He's definitely hungry, unquote. And yes, I spent about 20 minutes laughing about the phrase, his get-off is insane. Because I'm 12 years old. My apologies. The Chargers stopped rotating the right side of the offensive line in OTAs. Rookie Joe Alt took all the snaps at right tackle, while Trey Pipkins slid into right guard. Jamari Salyer worked completely with the second team, both at tackle and guard. We do not know if this was just a test to see if Alt could handle the load, or if the coaching staff has just said, you know what, screw it, you got the job. We don't know the answer yet. Sometimes people say the right things and you hope the lesson sinks in. Such is the case for wide receiver Quentin Johnston, who told the LA Times that when he looks for motivation, he will rewatch plays of his dropped passes and, quote, kind of get mad at myself again, unquote. Meanwhile, the coaching staff has been showing him other clips, those of Seattle's DK Metcalf. They want him to play a more physical game. I don't know if that's Johnston's game, but let's be real. If you're going to be with the Chargers under Jim Harbaugh, everybody's playing a much more physical game. The punter is part of the Oklahoma drill now if you're going to be part of the Chargers. Let's be honest. Berka Bayuktajel. We will not have his extremely difficult name to kick around at UCLA anymore. He is transferring to Nebraska. The Turkish forward probably has some upside and could contribute, provided the coaching staff knows Turkish or Kurdish, Arabic, Armenian. I looked it up. There's over 90 different dialects in Turkey. I'm sure he's a nice guy. How are you going to coach a guy where you're having trouble with the language? I'm just saying. Something tells me Kings fans have seen the last of Matt Roy, who is an unrestricted free agent, completely unheralded outside of NHL circles. But inside those NHL circles, the people inside, they love the guy. The ones who are on the East Coast and will willingly stay up to watch Kings hockey past midnight, those guys love. You know what people inside NHL circles love? They love players who are extremely low maintenance and just simply provide wins. And if you calculate how many wins Roy gives to the lineup, people who calculate future salaries suggest Roy can get paid $6.1 million. Meanwhile, the Kings can probably only afford to offer about $5 million, and they have Brent Clark from the minors waiting in the wings. So yeah, there's going to be interest. The Athletic listed 6 teams that would be willing to pony up $6 million for Matt Roy. But you let me know what you think in the comments thread. Talk to me, for example, about JJ Redick and a potential future as a Lakers coach. Are you finally happy that the door has closed on Shohei Ohtani and that gambling probe? And if you enjoyed the content, don't forget to subscribe to Faithful Angelenos. We're talking LA sports every single day here, wherever the hell I am. Thank you for watching. I'm James. We'll be back tomorrow. Faithful Angelenos is a Kian Corte El Queso production. Take care.